Here we go. Oh man. Unreasonable murder. Oh, I wrote a poem about it. Oh, cool, cool. Oh, cool. So in English common law, it said a natural person, but they also have a thing called reasonable person, a reasonable creature. And a reasonable creature, you have to be a reasonable creature in order to be murdered in court in English common law. So in their history, if a noble killed a peasant and they went to court and the noble was able to argue that the individual was not a reasonable creature. They didn't all that obligations and duties and shit like that. They didn't meet that standard of designation. Therefore, the act of killing could not be a crime. See? So I said, because I understand English common law, I understand all fucking human thought because I'm a fucking human thinking, that every thought has a counter thought, and every put on all polarities reveals singularities. And it gets deeper than that, but that's just I'm only on that level. That's like second grade level, and that's as far as I got. Okay, so I can't even think of the shit 3D yet. I'm still 2D in this shit. But on that context, I'm 2D gives me enough frame of mind to be able to understand that if English common law is telling you by definition of reasonable creature, but they are telling you by definition of creating a definition for the term reasonable creature, that there is a corresponding definition, even though it is not printed in their dictionary, for unreasonable creature. And an unreasonable creature is a thing. And this gets into why what we consider that immunity thing for cops, plausible immunity or something like that. That's not that's English common law. You guys don't get what it is. You're just listening to what they're saying because you think what they're saying to you is obligated, like some kind of binding. You think it's binding, like it obligates them to meet some kind of standard. They're talking down to you. They're not giving you an explanation. They're dumbing down what they feel. They're casting. They and they're from their standpoint. When they do a legal explanation, they are casting their pearls before swine, and you are the swine. You're the unreasonable creature by definition of not being a bar associated with this Anglophilia. Okay. So anyways, unreasonable creature, reasonable creature. I made this unreasonable murder. And when did I do this one? 2015. So you see a year later, maybe a year. Once upon a time, in a world not far away, there was a place that wasn't real but happened every day. Costumes, dregs ran city streets in an endless game of play. But under the sheen of looking the same and following the rules, some of these games didn't end so well, 'cause these dregs could turn cruel. What the fuck? But under the sheen of looking the same and following the rules, some of these games didn't end so well, 'cause these dregs could turn cruel. Ain't nothing as honest and safe than a dreg with a gun dressed in green or blue. Some might mistake this just 'cause it ends in a death, that somehow these dregs had that thought in their chest. Luckily, bush aligned men cloaked in black actually know best. I mean, judges are. The fact that I have to explain it shows you how bad this. I'm not saying this is a good poem, people. This is a desperate attempt at poetry. Could be man, woman, or a 7-year-old sleeping girl. Just depends on what's up in the armed dregs world. One thing for sure, it won't matter what pleadings are hurled. That's a to Kenneth Chamberlain Sr. And the other one is a girl that was shot in Texas. The white cop came in. She was sleeping on the couch, and he opened fire with an assault rifle. She was the only one there in the couch. No other adult moving, no other movement in the house. He was the first entry point. First thing he did was shot multiple rounds into her. They knew that there were civilians. They knew that there were kids and that he murdered. He was a Mason that did that. That was a human ritual. Aryan Majesty sacrifice. Okay, and no charges. Just depends on what's up in the armed dregs world. One thing for sure, it won't. And they think that stress. I'm not saying stress. I'm thinking ambition, wanting to move up in the ranks of the Anglophile. You have to kill unreasonable creatures to prove you're a reasonable creature. If you guys aren't getting this, Trump is the reasonable creature, and you are the unreasonable creatures. That's why he was invited twice. Oh, anyways, let me finish this. One thing for sure, it won't matter what pleadings are hurled. These kind of events only happen some of the time. Not once has a dreg ever passed the blue line, except Dorner, the sentient being, is a hero of mine. And this was a time when I was taking Blackleaf number 40 as my, you know, common name, whatever you want to call it, surname. Oh, pen. What? So what did I think about right here? One thing for sure, the pleadings is kind of drag. Arm drag. Busherman. One thing happened for sure. Okay, some might mistake this just because it happens in a death, luckily. Oh, it had something to do with oh, something to do. My whole point is when the guy that killed this girl, he wanted to kill her so that he can. It's like they have a you know there's a dark web. Okay, there's a dark Boy Scouts, but it's not for boys. Does that make sense? And we're saying it would make the KKK look like a elementary school yard bully. It'll make um what's another level of like the Confederate type racism institutional, like because you say the KKK is maybe fringe, but then if you get into the Confederate style Southern, institutionalized state sanctioned racism, you might think that that is it too. No, 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 no. The dark Boy Scouts, are the guys that are beyond all that and killing the 7-year old little girl in her sleep, knowing that he had. This is what I'm trying to tell you. He's like, I'm gonna go first. He positioned himself because his thing was, I'm gonna kill this kid. They knew everything. You get it? They do intel. They knew where people sleep, rooms, kids, people in the, all that shit. He wanted to be first because he knew that he only had a split second to be able to justify, to be able to rationalize the shooting enough to get away with it publicly. And one thing for sure, it doesn't matter what pleadings. That's Kenneth Chamberlain Sr., was a Marine veteran who rolled over on his life alert, which is a little thing for emergencies back in the day before cell phones were a real big thing. So old person wore a necklace with a button. If they press a button, it goes to a call center. The call center opens a mic in their home, both on the button and in their like a machine, like a radio in their house, and they have a conversation and they can call for help. And when he took his phone off the line because of telemarketers. And when he rolled over on his life alert and it went off, they called the police for a medical check. When they showed up, he said, I'm fine. They said, you have to open the door. He said, no, I don't. And they said, yes, you do. He said, if I open this door, you're going to kill me. And for the next hour and a half, they proceeded to pry his door open. And as soon as they got in, he was standing in, they said he had lunged at them with a knife and they tasered him. And then he ended up getting shot multiple times, at least 3 times in the chest. No, at least 2 times in the chest. While laying on the ground, it's important to note, not standing up. And they can tell that from the forensics. Even that was in the report. But then what ended up coming out was the family doing some lawsuit. The taser had a camera on it. So as soon as the guy pulls the trigger for the taser, the recording for the camera actually goes back 30 seconds. So they see Kenneth Chamberlain Sr. standing at attention like a good Marine, a good nigger, a good boy, thinking that if he shows them that, you know what, he's disciplined and he's not a threat in his underwear, in his home, that they won't kill him. And what do? They tase him immediately. They drop him on the floor and they tase him repeatedly. And then while he's incapacitated and tased, this kill squad, a death squad of fucking white Christian. Well, not white necessarily. They were white cops, but there might have been black cops too. This is White Plains, New York. Um, Shoot that fool twice in the chest, execution style. No charges. So, cheerio, cheerio, cheerio.